one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Look, I'm through with this false persona. I can't do the Mr. Goody two-shoe shit any longer. Y'all check y'all hoes at the door while I'm putting it on her. Feel less responsible for my actions when I say I'm on the edge and these niggas just keep harassing. Killing people I love, man, this shit just a crime of passion. I know this isn't me, boy, stop asking me what didn't happen. I've been talking to my demons, y'all really thought I was capping. Now y'all scared cause you found that I'm really about all the action. Don't do the pretend shit, all of my problems forensics. Tugging the cheek over tension, nice that we can barely mention. I would say I moved on, but I know that shit hard to convince it. I sleep at ease when she pull up like a hardy convention. Never been harder to fit in. I know niggas, no pot to piss in. Needing assistance, also no niggas ran plays with pistons. Both old wisdom. I sleep in silence, knowing everything good with the profit. I checked the summary last month, made 11 deposits. Everything is big up on the boy, feel like Christopher Wallace. Strong arm the game, who gon' stop him? That nigga too brolic. I've had enough of they twisted logic, that shit retarded. I question everything. I made the wrong choice between a paddock or a wedding ring. Hope you catching everything. They get goosebumps when I spit like when a net is seen.
I'm Lamar Jackson. I love the Ravens and I appreciate you giving me an opportunity. Drafted me in the 32nd round, but I repaid you for that. Now, what I'm not going to allow you to do is try to make me feel guilty or try to guilt me into like Lamar is quitting on the team. Y'all quit on me long time ago. So in other words, if y'all want me to come out there and risk injury, y'all need to make it right. Y'all need to make it right because, as a matter of fact, I just saw what happened on Monday night. So at any given moment, this thing could be over for me. Now, as a matter of fact, I talked to y'all in the offseason.
That's true.
I talked to you in the offseason. Since you wanted to be nasty.
Okay.
Since we going to be nasty, Skip, y'all were nasty.
This is nasty.
I'm going to be really nasty.
Okay.
Welcome to Kicking It with Saint. I am your host, Saint. Bro, this is a sports show, bro. We talk sports. Talk wrestling. Wrestling is sports, bro. I don't know why I separated the two. This ain't a wrestling show tonight. This is we talking about Saturday night football coming up, or Saturday football playoff. Well, it ain't playoff football, but preparation for playoff football, because of course we are in the last week of the NFL regular season. Next week the postseason will kick off. Well, not technically next week, because next week is actually the last week. So once we get to Sunday after. Bro, you know what I mean, bro. Sunday coming up is the last week of Sunday football. Saturday football is the last week of Saturday. Listen, regardless, week 18 is coming to its close. This is the last week of the regular season. I appreciate y'all for joining me, man. Like, subscribe, share, do all that good shit. And come back, bro. Check out some other videos on the channel. You know what I'm saying? If it's your first time and you're like, bro, I wonder what this dude talking about. It's always a mystery when that type things happen, because you never really know. And when you got new viewers and shit like that, you know, I don't have a script as to how I'm gonna start every single show. So if I got a banger way to start the show, well, that was just a banger way to start the show, that show, because I'm probably not gonna start the show the same fucking way. It's not authentic. You know what I'm saying? Now, once I get a daily show that's legitimate, I got viewers watching this shit on a daily basis, I got a routine, I got a crew, I got people I work with and shit like that, maybe I come up with some cheesy ass catchphrase to open up a show, but I just start the show with whatever the fuck pops up in my head in that moment. Now, I'm not saying the whole show throughout is, because a lot of my shows recently have been scripted in the sense that I know what subjects I'm talking about throughout the entirety of the show. It's not me just thinking of a topic and talking about it. It's not me just using games to lead into different topics. I actually write down the topics I specifically want to talk about, and I try to stick to those topics. Now, I might touch on other things throughout the video, but I make sure I specifically hit those topics so I can have a description on what I'm pretty much going to talk about in a description of the video and things of that nature. And I'm trying to learn to do the timestamps and shit like that to also show people where in the video they can find certain things, especially when I do the prediction videos. That's the main thing. And before I even figure that out, if I don't figure that out like within the next video, I'm gonna probably have a slate to start every prediction video to let you know what teams I'm gonna talk about and in the order of which I'm gonna talk about them. Just so you can know, like if he talking about this team right here, then I already know what team, what point in the video to probably go to see where he talking about my team. You know what I'm saying? And I understand it took me all the way to week 18 to figure that shit out, but one person right now. I apologize. We gonna get better. But listen, Saturday football, you got the Chiefs headed to Vegas to take on the Raiders, and I was finna say Sunday. And the Saturday night football game, you got the division on the line for the AFC. I can't remember the division name at the moment. Hold up, let me put something, because the Ravens play in the North, the Chiefs play in the West. I think it's the AFC South. No, it's not, because the South is where Miami and them boys play. So it's the NFC North. I mean, it's the NFC East. The NFC East is on the line, and the Jaguars take on the Titans in Minnesota. Good Lord, I'm everywhere tonight. In Jacksonville. Matter of fact, where am I? Yep, in Jacksonville. Now, before I get into those two games, DeMar Hamlin received great news that, well, I didn't receive it, but you know, I saw the news broke that he got to talk to his teammates in the game. In practice, he called him in through FaceTime and whatnot. So that's a great sign that he's gonna be all right. Hope he get healthy enough so he can get back. I know football is not a number one thing right now, but I hope he get healthy enough so he can continue to live out his dream of being a football player. Because it'll be devastating if this injury take him off the field permanently. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't hope he just get healthy. I hope he get healthy enough so he can have a good life. But I hope he get healthy enough so he can have a good life and continue to play football. Because I want this man to get generational wealthy. I wish every NFL player who played could touch wealth, like at least $1 million, at least $1 million. I wish everybody could touch that. I know that's a sad reality that that's not going to be a possibility. Everybody not going to be able to touch that as far as the athletes, but I wish it weren't that case, because to go out there and do what they got to do on a weekly basis, bro. It's insane. I'm just saying. But we're not going to get into that in this video. I want to get into the games because this ain't going to be a long show tonight. Specifically talking about just two games. Because I'm not going to go over the other games that's happening this week, because we already had a prediction video for that. But I do want to talk about these games. So, Saturday you got KC. First I'm going to talk about this KC Vegas game. I'm taking KC to win this game. Obviously, in the prediction video, I had picked Vegas at first because I didn't think the Chiefs had anything to play for. The Chiefs do have something to play for. Now, I'm not quite sure the new rules that came out, the adjustments to the playoff format for the AFC. I'm not sure how the neutral site thing is. Like, if the Bills lose on Sunday, I believe the Chiefs will get the home field advantage. But if the Bills win and the Chiefs win, I believe it'll be a neutral site for the AFC Championship game if those teams play each other. Which I understand because it's because of the situation that happened on Monday night. The funny thing about this situation, not the situation that happened on Monday night, but the little rule changes or the adjustments to the situation. The funny thing is Cincinnati don't like that if Baltimore beat them on Sunday, that it's a coin flip to see who should get the home field between those two. Now, I don't understand how, because Cincinnati already done won the division. Even though if Cincinnati had lost Monday night and then lost this week to Baltimore, they would have lost the division. So that's very interesting. However, Cincinnati somehow got a problem because they think that because they were winning a game in which it was 8 minutes in the first quarter left, for some reason, in their minds, they are being done dirty. Even though all they have to do is win against the Ravens and this will be null and void. Now, I would understand the Cincinnati Bengals having a problem with this rule change if the Baltimore Ravens had absolutely no way to win the division. But because if that game was played and they lost it and then lost this week to Baltimore would have won the division. You cannot be mad at this rule, especially seeing as how the rule only come into play if you lose to the Ravens for the second time this year. So you telling me that if you lost to the Ravens twice this year, and you know for a fact that if a whole season was played out, you could have had a possibility of losing this division because of that, you think it's unfair now to have to do a coin? That's just insane to me. That's insanely hilarious to me that the Bengals actually just saying fuck that altogether and thinking about all these other outcomes. It's hilarious to me. But nonetheless, the Ravens not going to win that game anyways. I'm picking us to win because I'm not finna pick against my team, but we not beating the Bengals. So if the Bengals actually go out there and lose that game, shame on them because you at home. It's no Lamar Jackson. Like, what are we doing? Either way, if KC win and the Bills win, I believe it's a neutral site if those two teams play in an AFC championship game. So in that sense, I don't want to say it don't matter if they win or not, but it kind of lessened the win because I think Buffalo going to beat the Patriots, bro. I understand what Buffalo going through, but even if Buffalo wasn't going through this, I would have picked them to beat the Patriots. I just think they're a better team. Unless the Patriots go out there. Like, I like the Patriots defense. They've been playing real good the last couple of weeks, but I'm not they cannot, bro, Buffalo done ran through these motherfuckers the last couple of times they done played. So I'm not taking the Patriots to beat no Buffalo. So this could end up coming into effect. I don't think the Bengals one will. I think the Bengals going to beat Baltimore on Sunday. But I do think that the one between, I think Cincinnati involved in that too, because if they win also, then I think that, now if any team say it's unfair, it should be KC because they had to play a full season. So if it was a one team that tried to say this is unfair, to me it would have to be Kansas City, because if they win this last game of the season and they finish 14-3, they played all 17 games. That's when a team should yell, "Oh, this is not fair." But aside from that, I don't really have a problem with the rule, the neutral field, because the way I feel personally is if you get into the playoffs, bro, I don't give a fuck where you playing at, bro. I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't care where you playing at. And I understand some teams got better. They play better at home. It's harder to play on the road, bro. You get in the dance, the same thing is at on the line as every other team got on the line. A chance at the Super Bowl. If that ain't enough to make you play harder on the road, then I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. So I'm personally with I don't care about the rule changes or the adjustments that they done made to circumvent the lost game, because I'm just like, just go out there and play, and the best team gonna win regardless. Simple as that. So to talk about this KC Vegas game, with that out the way, I think KC is going to get a good enough lead. See, I know Jarrett Stidham had a good game last week. I can't bank on him having another great game this week, even though I don't think KC's defense is that great. I can't bank on him having back-to-back good games for the simple reason I done seen Jarrett Stidham. He not a consistently good quarterback. He not a quarterback that's going to put together two good games. So I'm going to just have to guess or assume he might put together another good game or fall back down to earth. Like, this is the problem when you have to talk about quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, especially backup quarterbacks who don't play a lot, and when they do play, it's not good stretches. Because you're just guessing at this point. And I understand you see some of the analysts on TV talking, and they'll take these one good games, and now they're talking like he's been a great player for his whole career. But I understand every time I done seen him. And I understand you got Jamar. I understand. I'm looking at Jamar Chase, but I'm thinking about Devontae Adams. I understand you have Devontae Adams, but Derek Carr had Devontae Adams too, bro. And he done had good games with Devontae Adams too. And went right and then still lost his job. So listen, I like Josh Jacobs too. I think he might have made himself a little bit more money. but I still don't know how much more money he could have made as a running back, because I just feel like teams are going to always feel like, why would I pay a running back big time money when I can always draft one? You can find running backs anywhere. That's just how it's going to be with most teams in the NFL. They just not going to go back to committing big time money to running backs. I mean, shit, maybe Baltimore will pay him a big time contract. That's the type of team that'll do some shit like that. But I think he should stay with the Raiders. I just don't think that the Raiders going to end up paying him like a huge contract. I think they'll pay him. I just don't think they're going to pay him what probably he think he earned after this type of season. But that's because I don't think he is wrong for how he value himself. It's just the market, the value of a running back in today's NFL is nowhere near what it once was. And I don't see it getting back to that high value at any time soon, because I don't think it's a team out there that's running the ball at an elite level that's a Super Bowl contending team. And at the end of the day, I think you need a running back, but you don't need a running back that you can hand the ball off to a shit ton of times. Like, unless you... example, Josh Jacobs would be a phenomenal player if he went to I think he already a phenomenal player. He would be great if he went to the Chargers. Now, what the Chargers is willing to offer him, I don't know. But I think the Chargers would be a way better team if they brought in Josh Jacobs and traded Austin Eckler. Now, I know that's going to sound crazy. Like, bro, why would they trade Austin Eckler after all he done the last couple? Well, the Chargers ain't going to pay Austin Eckler an exorbitant amount of money. And maybe Austin Eckler would take a team-friendly deal anyways. But Austin Eckler is a player to me who would resemble... They rely on him far too much. And he is not the type of... to me, he belongs in a system where, like the Saints... The Saints' dumbass offensive system works for running backs who can do what Austin Eckler can do. Now, he don't do it Kamara at 100% do, but he done had better production than Kamara the last couple years. Either way, a high-octane offense like the Chargers should have, to me, you kind of get bogged down when you got a dude like Austin Eckler who the quarterback going to constantly throw it to, because that's always going to be a safety net right there. Like, I just don't think he need Austin Eckler as much as if you eliminate those dink throws that he always getting off to Austin Eckler, and you turn those into handoffs to Josh Jacobs. Now you take your offense to another level, because now you're going to have those passes deeper down the field that you want anyways. You're going to have those dink and dunk passes anyways, but you're going to have so much more to work with, because now teams is having to guard the running back. They're going to have to decide if we're going to stack the box against Josh Jacobs. Nobody's stacking the box against Austin Eckler. That's just the reality. I ain't heard not one team come into none of the games against the Chargers saying the biggest threat to us is Austin Eckler. We got to stack the box. Which is amazing that they run the ball as bad as they do, because teams is literally trying to defend the pass. Because they know the Chargers not going to commit to running the ball. That's why people go crazy every time Austin Eckler have a great rushing game. You bring in Josh Jacobs and he reciprocate the year that he had this year with the Raiders. The Chargers go to another level, in my opinion. Especially if your two receivers stay healthy and your quarterback stay healthy. And that keep the defense off the field. And late in games, Justin Herbert not having to throw excessive passes because you could just hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs. And when you get rid of Austin, because I don't think you can survive having both of them on the field, because it'll be a conflict of offense. Because now you'll try to run one offense when you got Eckler in, and you'll try to run another offense when you got Jacobs in. And Jacobs will fall to the wayside because you'll get comfortable with Eckler, because that's who's always been there. And you won't actually develop the offense that will work better for you if you continue with the Josh Jacobs thing. So you don't want to fall into old habits, because old habits might not be as bad as you think, but they are bad and why you cannot get to where you're trying to go to. So that's why I think if you bring in Josh Jacobs, you got to get rid of Austin Eckler, because plus you're not paying both of them. What you do is you get rid of Austin Eckler, you bring in Jacobs if the Raiders don't re-sign him, and you sign another running back who can take the handoffs and be a dominant running back also behind behind Josh Jacobs, and who could possibly do some of what Austin Eckler did, just to a lesser extent. But Josh Jacobs got to be your main running back, because Josh Jacobs to me is a far better what Josh Jacobs does, he do it far better than Austin Eckler. And if the Chargers had what Austin Eckler, what Josh Jacobs provide, this would be a legitimate Super Bowl contending team, in my opinion. Because the Chargers can't just turn around and hand the ball off 20-something plus times a game to their running back and think good things are going to happen. Yeah, they just can't. They haven't been able to do that shit since they got him. But people rave about Austin Eckler, and I believe Austin Eckler is a great player. I just believe what he provide, this team don't necessarily need. But because they done fallen in love with that, this team, and I understand that, listen, they got to the playoffs this year. But it's a lot of reasons they got to the playoffs this year. And I'm going to just leave it at that. But I think they could benefit greatly off of going to get Josh Jacobs if Vegas don't re-sign him. And Vegas could be so addicted to trying to get a quarterback in the offseason that they could possibly let Josh Jacobs fall to the wayside because they believe, we can go find a running back. And they got so many different problems on this Raiders team. I would not be surprised if Josh Jacobs wasn't a Raider. Because to be completely honest with you, they need to fix this defense. They need to fix that offensive line. They got so many. I wouldn't be shocked if the Vegas Raiders traded Devontae, even though Devontae made it clear he wanted to be a Raider long before Derek Carr was a Raider. Yeah, it made it better that he could be a Raider, the team he grew up rooting for, and also play with his best friend. But that don't mean he asking for no trade. It's still a possibility he could be traded because the Raiders have so many problems if they don't bring in a top-tier quarterback. Like, let's say the Ravens don't trade Lamar Jackson and they try to keep Lamar and prove to him that they can go out and get a receiver. Devontae Adams would be a target for the Ravens because let's say they don't go out and get Tom Brady for the Raiders. The Raiders would then look to unload Devontae Adams because it would be no point in having a Devontae Adams and not having a quarterback. That would make no sense. I would imagine McDaniels would say, let's start to I would imagine Josh McDaniels would use that as his leverage to say, now let me rebuild this team in my image. And I'd imagine he'd try to go out and get Mac Jones. I'm going to be 100 with you. I think he would go and get Mac Jones in a heartbeat if Mac Jones was available. I believe Devontae Adams could be a trade piece in the offseason, especially next year by the trade deadline if this team not playing good. If Vegas is struggling towards the trade deadline, I imagine that Devontae Adams could be traded. However, if they, still got a chance to be successful and they have an opportunity to go get a quarterback, I think he'll be on the team the rest of the season. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that Devontae is traded at some point in time within the next 2 seasons. What else with this Vegas Raiders? Oh, and also, because the reason I wouldn't put it against them to trade him is because they have so many other problems to fix. Like, I don't think that, and it's amazing because you got Max Crosby, so you have the pass rusher. You probably regret signing Chandler Jones right now because it looked like age starting to get the best of him. You don't have a reliable cornerback. You don't have reliable safeties. You don't have reliable linebackers. You don't have a reliable offensive line. But you got pass rushers. You got a receiver. And you don't have a quarterback. And you got a running back who might get the short end of the deal because they need to replenish other areas. Like, Vegas really is a badly built team, which is why I got off of this team in the offseason. And when I did took a deeper dive, I was like, this is not going to be the team that everybody think is going to be. And they proved that. So, I understand I haven't really talked about the game a lot. I'm breaking down the teams more so in the situations, but that's what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? I already told you, I'm taking Kansas City to win the game because I think this game means more to them than it do Vegas. And I actually think it would benefit Vegas more to lose this game. But actually, I think Vegas gave away their first round pick for Devontae. Don't hold me to that. I'm not sure about that. But nonetheless, Vegas got a lot to do in the offseason. I do think they'll lose this game because they got to make a decision. We either try to go hard for a quarterback, a proven quarterback that can gloss over a lot of the flaws we have so we can be patient at building because we're going to have a quarterback that can keep us above water anyways. Or They're not going to be able to get a quarterback, and they're going to have to start tearing this down, meaning they're going to have to get rid of some of the high-priced pieces. And so I don't think Max Crosby would be traded because it just feel like he a cornerstone piece to this franchise right now. But I wouldn't be shocked if he end up becoming available. I don't think that your rebuild should start with getting rid of all the great pieces on your team. But I would not be shocked if that's what it took, because Vegas is one of them teams right now. They have 3 great players, one of which is a free agent at the end of the year. The other one is at a position that's dependent at times on a quarterback that you do not have. And he can put up as many great yards as he wants to. The fact of the matter is, if you ain't got the quarterback and now you don't have an offensive line, you don't have a running back, it's no purpose of having a high price. It's no point of having the receiver being the highest paid player on my team right now. And also, Max Crosby. So you technically only have 2 guys, and you can make an argument every other area on my team need work right now. So I'm be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if Vegas go to a full rebuild next year, at the end of next year, or at some point in time at the end of this offseason, or going into this offseason. Because if they seeing what I'm seeing, and I understand this is a 6-win team right now, and you can make an argument they probably could have had more wins. That's the saving grace. If you say, that's the thing though, if they can't get a quarterback, because if they go get out a Lamar Jackson, a Tom Brady, I'm positive they could get that 6 wins to double-digit wins, to where you don't have to go through a whole full rebuild. You can build piece by piece, and players are going to want to come over there anyways because they're going to want to play with great quarterbacks. If you cannot get those quarterbacks, you have to start your rebuild. Because if you don't start this rebuild right now and you go into thinking that, we a piece away, the Raiders are not a piece away without a great quarterback. The Raiders are a full team rebuild away if they do not have a Lamar, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback. Point blank, period. They can, and it would even be tough for those players to come in and save this team, because I think the defense is terrible. Because I think they need to rebuild the entire defense. I don't think it's a player except for Max Crosby on that. It's not a position that Max Crosby ain't playing that cannot be improved on this defense, in my opinion, when it comes to the Raiders. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say it a couple times. I personally think the Raiders should go to a full rebuild. I don't even think they should risk trying to go out and get a quarterback. I think they need to start a rebuild. Try to see what you can get for Max Crosby right now in his prime. See what you can get for Devontae Adams. And I think you could probably, you're going to get a first round pick for one of those 2 players. Possibly both. Both of them are worth first round draft picks. And you let Josh Jacobs walk in the offseason, which would be the easy thing to do. So technically you're only letting 2 dudes, trading 2 dudes away. I really think you should have traded Josh Jacobs at the trade deadline. Nonetheless, I think the full rebuild is the way to go for Vegas. I'm be honest with you. I think as soon as this game strikes 0 on the clock, it's time to start the full rebuild. Max Crosby got to be traded, and so does Devontae Adams, because you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a line, you don't have a running back, you don't have a defensive line, you don't have linebackers, you don't have a secondary, corners or safeties. It is time to start rebuilding this Raiders team. And if you take your time and wait, it could get ugly. That's all I'm saying. And I would also see if it's a trade value out there for Chandler Jones. Moving on to the Tennessee-Jacksonville game and all the things that surround these 2 teams, because I'm going to break down these 2 teams like I broke down the KC and Vegas teams. I'm taking Jacksonville to win this game on Sunday. Now, I'm not confident in this pick. I'm more so making this pick because I picked Jacksonville to win this division in the offseason. But also, I just feel like Jacksonville is playing better. The reason I'm not confident in this pick, however, is this is the exact type of game that a young team like Jacksonville could lose. And to me, this is a playoff game for Jacksonville right now. The playoffs for you start now, because if you lose this game, you are out of the playoffs. And so they have to treat this as our playoffs start tomorrow night when a playoff game hit. And so to me, it'll be very easy for them to overlook Tennessee, who are going to be coming out there with Josh Dobbs again, and I think Henry will play in this game. It'll be very easy for them to overlook them after beating them earlier and seeing how they done played the last couple weeks. However, like I said, in a young team like Jacksonville, it would be very easy to overlook a team like Tennessee right now. And Derrick Henry go out there and run for 200 fucking yards. Because we know he capable of putting a team on his back and going crazy. I understand it ain't been the best season for Derrick Henry. I think this is his last season in Tennessee. It's a shame that he didn't try to request a trade earlier in his career. Because if he really, I understand he a team guy. But a team, like if he played with Brady in Tampa, it was so many other teams out there that he could have played for that would have got him to the Super Bowl that he could have gotten while he was in his prime. But nonetheless, I still think it's treading on his tires. I just don't think he should waste the rest of his career in Tennessee, because Tennessee to me is clearly a couple pieces away also. Not a couple. They got a lot of work to do also to get back to contention. And the reason it's so tougher on teams like a Tennessee or Vegas is because you have quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. When you got those four quarterbacks, you can't afford to sit around and wait. It's just as simple as that. You get lucky because two of those dudes is in the same division. Now imagine if Lamar, Burrow weren't in the same division. It was just Lamar in that division and Burrow in another one. You get lucky because those two are in the same division. For Vegas, you don't. Because, and I forgot Justin Herbert. You get lucky because Herbert and Mahomes play in the same division. For the Raiders, you don't. You are actually unlucky because both of them play in your division, which is why it is so paramount that they start their rebuild now. But for Tennessee, the bell may have started to toll because Trevor Lawrence ain't getting worse. If Trevor Lawrence can become a top-tier quarterback, well, now you have a problem. Because all these years that you could have spent building up this offense, you should have paid A.J. Brown. You didn't. And it looked like this team done taking a step backwards and Jacksonville taking a step forward. The AFC is a scary place to play right now when you don't have a quarterback. Like I said, the fortunate ones are lucky that, like a Tennessee. For a long time, Tennessee didn't have to worry about a superstar quarterback in their division after Luck retired. That's why they could win the division by running with Derrick Henry and having Ryan Tannehill be just a competent quarterback, and you could boost his numbers because he played in the type of system he played in, because there was no offenses in that. It was no quarterback in that division. Whereas Baltimore, the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Browns, they have to worry about a Joe Burrow, a Lamar Jackson, Big Ben at one point in time, Deshaun Watson if he get back to playing the way he played. So you know what, the Titans did have to worry about Deshaun Watson. I take that back. Even though I don't think Deshaun Watson is on the level of those other quarterbacks yet, I understand how great he was playing. I just don't think he influenced winning like those other quarterbacks did. But nonetheless, Deshaun's heights were his heights, and they were winning that division, I believe, once. Deshaun lost that division once he lost DeAndre Hopkins. I'm trying to think that they win that division that year. Did the Texans win that division? I think they won it. The Texans started running off on that division once this Deshaun Watson shit started to happen. Yeah, I think the Texans took over this division once Deshaun Watson lost to Hopkins, and then every year after that. But when you look at this, look at what's happening when you don't have a quarterback. You fall. Look at the Patriots right now. Now, I don't think it's that they don't have a quarterback, but Mac Jones clearly not what these other dudes is, and I blame the things around Mac Jones, but it's hard to survive in the AFC right now if you don't have a quarterback, because the best quarterbacks in the NFL basically is playing all in the AFC. And you got four of them where two of them play in the same division as far as Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, Pat. But I'm telling you, Tennessee fuck around, let Jacksonville get themselves a monster, it's going to get ugly. I don't know why players would want to play in these in the AFC at this point, to be honest with you. If one team could take over in the NFC, they could possibly make a run in the next couple years, unless the quarterback field get replenished in the AFC, or unless Lamar Jackson end up in the NFC somehow, because the AFC got all the dogs. The AFC legit got all the, and I haven't even spoken on Tua. And obviously the quarterbacks that I didn't name, I just don't feel like they in the same category as a Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Herbert. those 5 quarterbacks specifically are generational in a way. Those are game-changing quarterbacks. I can't name them 5 quarterbacks on my hand in the NFC, especially this year with Brady and Rodgers struggling the way they have. And I like Dak, but he ain't them 5. So it's going to be interesting to see what Tennessee do. But for Jacksonville, I think they have to come into this game and understand, listen, we cannot let Derrick Henry run our asses off the field. Because I think it would be a disappointing season if Jacksonville end up losing, especially because it's at home. And you worked so hard to get to this point. You rebuilt your season after starting off so rocky. Tennessee had to fall for you to rise. Don't waste this opportunity. For Tennessee, I just don't think they'll be able to do enough with Dobbs in this offense. Because I don't trust the receivers to be consistently good throughout the entirety of a game. I don't trust the running game to be consistent just because of what I've seen. Even though, like I said, Derrick Henry, you just never know. He could pop off for one at any given moment. But I'm just going off of what I've seen from Tennessee in the last couple weeks. It haven't looked good for Tennessee. And so, to me, this would be a major blown opportunity for Jacksonville if they miss out on this. And I'm be mad as hell because I picked this team to win this fucking division. And so far, when it comes to picking the divisions, I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win their division. They gonna win it. I picked the Bills to win their division. They gonna win it. I picked Jacksonville to win their division. We about to find this one out right now. I picked Baltimore to win their division, which we would have won if Lamar didn't get hurt. So I'm wrong on that one, but ultimately I would have been right. I picked Tampa Bay to win that division. Didn't know it was gonna be that damn trash, but they did it. I picked the Vikings to win that division. They did it. I picked... Who did I pick in that other one? I don't think I picked the 49ers. I picked the Rams to win that division, so I was wrong on that, but I could not have known the Rams was going to be that damn bad this year. But shout out to Kyle Shanahan. And what's the other division? Oh, and in the Cowboys division, I picked the Eagles to win that division, and they did. So technically, I only got, 2 or 3 divisions wrong? So I'm going to need Jacksonville to come through for the kid. I'm going to need them to come through and do, I was going to say what champions do, but they ain't no fucking champions. Just do what big dogs do, bro. Win this game. This game is everything as far as Trevor Lawrence's match. I hope Trevor Lawrence go out there and ball out. Because I'm going to start calling them, well, I'm not going to start calling them this, but this will be a huge game. And this will, I could see, a lot of white people jumping the shark saying, big game, Trev. He played big in big games, even though this would technically be his first big game. But then they go use his colleges. His college stats. They're going to be like, he played big games in college. He was a champion in college. They don't bring that shit up for nobody but white quarterbacks. But listen, with that being said, I got the Kansas City Chiefs beating Vegas. And I got Jacksonville beating Tennessee. I think it's going to be a dope football night. With that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Listen, tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. And in a world where you can be anything, choose to be kind to somebody today. I'm pretty sure they'll appreciate it, and so will you. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.